Yeah. If you want to know kind of like the general stuff about this Pokemon, something we actually haven't touched on, which is basically the only thing we've been discussing are matchups that change.
Yeah.
So like if you have this stat versus this stat, the things that change between them, if you look at the vast amount of data that this Pokemon can just nuke without even considering, like let's say you had a 14, 14, 14, this thing is so strong.
Exactly.
Like, it's so good. So if you really are down bad and you got the XLs and you're like, let's give it a shot, go for it. Like,
Yeah. Hello and welcome everyone again into another video, and this is a follow-up video to the Dusk Mane and Downwings IV, and I think the title was watch this video before you invest, because we're going through most of the IVs that are basically close to a hundo. Doesn't drop matchups when you build a Dusk Mane or a Downwing that isn't a hundo. I am here joined by notRob, the guy who made The Sims, Pokemon Go streamer, and a Pokemon Go caster as well. Post lots of deep dive IVs. So I will be leaving, Rob, your Twitter in the description below, and your Twitch, so people can give you a follow. Rob, welcome into the channel for the first time, I guess.
Yeah, first time on the YouTube at least.
So we're gonna start with Downwing. You talked about the hundo, the 98 and 96. Which we made the first video about, so we're going through it fast because there is already a video about it, and then we will do like a deep dive into the other ones, which is like more IV variants that people could actually benefit from using. So in this one, we have the Downwings, a hundo, 98, 96. What do you think was the best?
Well, if you're gonna go like comparing anything from the 100% is the hard part, right? Because if you get the hundo, you don't even have to turn your brain on. You just use that one, right? But the difficulty with Necrozma is that it has two different forms, and the fusion is what you have to decide what you want to commit to, because you're going to build it no matter what. So it's a matter of if you want to chase two of them and try to get one that's maybe not as great, you got to choose which one you want to be your hundo. And so I think today in the summary, right out of the gate, we want to say Dawnwings is probably the one that's going to benefit more from being 100% than Dusk Mane.
That was my case, Rob. I don't know if you know this. I got a hundo like 10 raids, and then I did 250 raids after, and I still don't have a second hundo. So like this video is going to benefit me more than my viewers as well. So thank you so much for the deep dive. To be honest, when I looked at the Sims, I was like, the 14 defense, lose a Dragon Breath breakpoint into Palkia Origin. So I'm like, okay, that's it for me. I guess hundo or bust. But then I looked up.
Those things are going to be relevant forever.
Yeah, exactly. Like Palkia Origin is the best Master League Pokemon, and it will be the best Master League Pokemon until maybe... I heard until the third form of Necrozma fusion, whatever they call it.
The Ultra Necrozma form.
The Ultra. I think the CP is going to be around 6,000 something.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy, but we don't know the actual stats. I think they just added it to the code for now.
Okay.
They're probably gonna tone it down like they've done in the past.
I see. So I know, like I said, 14 defense is not worth it, but you've had some matchups here, lots of deep dive IVs.
Yes.
What did you came up with?
Let's get into this. So if you're looking at Dawnwings specifically, the most common things that you want to check are even shields. So I've done 0s and 1s and 2s. That means when your opponent has a shield and you have a shield, what does that matchup look like? Or when you have no shields and they have no shields and you come in fresh, what does that look like?
Okay.
The reason this is relevant is because when you play 0s, those common matchups are either at the end of the game when both of you have only one Pokemon left, the shields are gone, or when you start the match and you don't want to commit any shields yet. So you and your opponent are both like, okay, we're not going to spend them yet. We're going to save and get some information. Those are the most common times you come into 0s, okay? Now, those are relevant because of the whole video. We're going to talk about it when it comes to Dawnwings with and without the ribbon of Best Buddy.
Okay.
So in the non-ribbon version, so with 14 defense, not with so like if it has 14 defense, it not only loses a Dragon Breath Gyarados in the 0s. Dragon Breath Gyarados can beat you, but a Ho-Oh that is running Sacred Fire can beat you. All right.
So you said Palkia.
Yeah, go ahead.
Palkia And Sacred Fire Ho-Oh, what does that mean?
So if for some reason when I was running the Sims without checking my own list, PvPoke's default setting for a Ho-Oh right now actually is to run Earthquake. So I had to add Ho-Oh into this list. Now, another weird thing about this is I believe in this simulation, it might mean that you only lose to Best Buddy Ho-Oh because it's listed once.
Okay.
But I need to verify that just very quickly.
Okay, take your time.
Let me just hit the... I'm going to copy Dawn Wings. Give it 14 hit points.
Hit points, you mean HP?
Sorry.
Defense.
14 defense.
Okay.
Hit save. And then I'm going to check the zeros with Ho-Oh. Yeah, so in this matchup, if you go to Ho-Oh, you lose to the last Ho-Oh, which is the Best Buddy Ho-Oh with Sacred Fire.
So, like, if you have 14 defense, you lose to Best Buddy Ho-Oh? Is that what... if they have Sacred Fire, right?
Yes, which is very relevant. And like, I included it here, not just because it's another thing that you lose to, but because... Ho-Oh is one of the common ones that does get the Best Buddy ribbon.
Yeah, that's why one of the things like I was like the most important Pokemons right now in the Master League meta. It's like I'm not going to talk about meta. It's like teams. There is like the Palkia, Lando, Ho-Oh. There is the Dialga, Necrozma, Lando, like the team I was running, and the Palkia teams. So those are like the main ones. So we're talking about 6 Pokemons that literally you're expecting everyone you queue into to have either or. So it's Palkia, Sacred Fire, that's like the main move, and I'm assuming it's 50-50%. It's like if they have Palkia, they have Lando. If they have Dialga, they have Necrozma and Lando. Well, the exception that if they have Palkia, it could be the Lion plus Ho-Oh or Lando. So Ho-Oh is like one of the very, very meta-relevant Pokemons, even though Palkia is everywhere and Lando. Just because it's an insane
in neutral matchups, Ho-Oh is really, really very strong.
It's very dominant.
Yeah, it's just really, really threatening. And then especially it's like one of those ebbs and flows in Master League happens around how many steals and how many Kyogres you're kind of seeing. So that really determines how much Ho-Oh comes up. And for me and Farid or Tomahawk, both of us have like maxed out Zaruds that we like to run. Yeah. And yeah, that's not a good matchup for me if I see the Ho-Oh.
That's why
that's why you run a Ho-Oh with it.
That's why I still refuse to invest in my Zarud. I'm like, Ho-Oh is everywhere. Yeah, I'm gonna take like a 50-50 calls, like it's going to be a Lando or a Ho-Oh, so I just can't take that. You have Gyarados, Dragon Breath, Breakpoint. What does...
Yeah, so I think that the Dragon Breath one is also a Best Buddy from memory.
Best Buddy Gyarados.
So if you have a Best Buddy Gary, dun dun dun. Yes, it is the this one actually Gyarados is standard. So if you match up against a normal Gyarados or a Best Buddy Gyarados, you will lose that.
Okay, I didn't know that. Oh, is it because they have because they have a crunch? I see. Yeah.
Yeah, the crunch does enough damage.
I'm assuming PvPoke shielding the Aqua Tail, letting the crunch go.
Yeah, it's specifically the crunch. You do not take any additional damage from Dragon Breath.
Okay, so it's just the crunch. So that's the 14 defense. So I'm gonna say that Palkia O is 99% of the meta. Ho-Oh, I would say 50%. Gyarados doesn't exist, but you know what, Rob? Like, sometimes I ignore Gyarados and Snorlax, but when you play these tournaments, like not GBL tournaments, like tournaments like organized by like some people like Inadequate ones, you're gonna see lots of Gyarados and Snorlax. They will be everywhere because those two Pokemons are just capable of dishing like tons of neutral damage, and they also don't have like they usually have 0 point when you, but like, you know, like these tournaments, they have like you're only allowed to bring 8 points, and usually like the OP Pokemons are 4. So Gyarados and Snorlax are always 0, which make them like a great pick. So it's actually going to be like, if for people who aren't GBL players, just like the people who play Battle Frontier faction in the past, those are everywhere.
Yeah, I kept a couple of my cards, just full transparency, kept some of my cards close to the chest when it comes to megas.
Yeah.
So if you wanna figure out how your megas match up for Battle Frontier, that's not information I'm gonna give you. You have to go do it yourself. But yeah, I'm sorry about the error on that 14 defense with Ho-Oh, Best Buddy. I did delineate specifically for the hit points that you lose it anyways. Okay. So yeah, but that's the power of the hundo. It really, really matters a lot when you have the ribbon or when you don't with this Pokemon. It's just very key. However, just keeping this in mind, okay, if you're really kind of depressed about your IVs, please don't worry. If you're just playing Master League, those are important matchups, yes, but if you know that you lose these things,
you out.
You can just commit the shield, because you know that the zeros is just a matchup you don't get because you're IVs. So you just say, okay, I can't do this. I just got to remember that with my Pokemon. I only lose that. So if I don't give my shield up.
Yeah, let me rephrase. So Rob is basically saying, as an example, if you see a Palkia, you get out. If you see a Ho-Oh, you commit shields because you only lose the zero. Well, that means you don't play the zero. Same goes to Gyarados, right?
Yeah, that's right. So in the 14 hit points, that's why I recommended that you could use a 98 there, because you don't have to sacrifice the common matchup of Palkia, but you can just take the narrow one that's less common with the Best Buddy on the Ho-Oh, or if you're playing, Battle Frontier, you lose the Gyarados match. But again, like you were saying, you can just choose to lose that one, and be okay.
Yeah,
but
it's like,
I really don't like letting a Best Buddy Garchomp that has Dragon Tail just kind of like whack you down in the two shields with 13 hit points or 13 defense. That's pretty bad.
So the 13 defense, I already made the argument that 14 defense is bad, but I'm assuming with the Best Buddy that it will be 15 defense. But what about the 13 defense? Do we drop more matchups?
It's actually like not that bad comparatively if you're just like you're aware of Garchomp it has to have a Best Buddy with Dragon Tail and Sandtomb to knock you down. It's a very specific thing to lose. It's basically the same.
I mean, usually people just don't shield against Garchomp. It's like, remember, like when people used to play
It's more rare that you're going to see a Garchomp with a Best Buddy ribbon.
Exactly. They would rather like no shield a nuke rather than shielding a Sandtomb. So they would rather like lose. So basically what I'm saying, just don't shield against Garchomp, Best Buddy. Okay?
Yeah. I didn't the HP differences here are very slim, but the 13 hit points loses the 2 shields versus Rhyperior, which is really annoying.
That's an annoying
one of those fringe ones that's like, if Ho-Oh and other flying types are in the meta, it's really annoying to deal with.
But something to mention here, like Downwings, yes, it's a spammy, but it's not spammy enough to be a good Pokemon in the 2, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know how many Rhyperiors are willing to commit 2 shields, but if this guy is and you've got 13 hit points, you're going to be a sad panda.
Exactly. So basically, like, just don't play 2 shields with the Downwings. That's another advice. Yeah. I know, like, people in this video will just jump to the end for the conclusion, but no, we're just giving actually more advices on how to play it. So as an example, don't play. If you see a Palkia and you have the 14 defense, you get out. The Ho-Oh Gyarados, you just shield. Rhyperior, you just don't play the 2 if you have the 13 HP. The 13 defense is what I am like more interested in. So we talked about the 14 defense, and there is a justification into it. Like, it's the key into playing it is actually playing the matchups different than playing it as a hundo. Now we go to the 13 defense. So it's same matchups you drop plus Garchomp in the 2. So basically just don't play the 2. The 15,
it has
14...
to be Best Buddy Garchomp, just to be clear.
Sorry. Okay, Best Buddy Garchomp. Now, what about the 15, 14, 14? Is there any justification to make that?
So the interesting thing is that the 15, 14, 14 is actually performance-wise almost the same as just the 14 defense.
Okay. Yeah, I see that.
You really just don't have any changes. Like, if you were better off, like, if let's say you have the 15, 14, 14, and then you have the 15, 15, 13. Right?
Okay.
I would put the 15, 15, 13 on Dusk Mane, and then use the 14, 14 for Dawnwings, if those are your best 2.
So if you have a 15, 15, 13, that would go to the Lion?
Yeah. The Lion does lose some key matchups too, but, you're not losing...
Right,
you're not losing the 14 hit. You're not losing to Dragon Breath Gyarados, Best Buddy Ho-Oh, and the 2 Rhyperior.
Okay. Best Buddy... Oh, sorry.
Let me back up a little bit, actually. If I'm saying advice-wise, like, I want to be super clear. Dawn Wings, like, if it were me, I would not build it unless it's a hundo at all.
Okay.
Like,
that's what, like,
just me.
We agreed on, like, in the last video. It's like, hundo, bat. The lion has, like, more flexibility, right? We will go through the lion, by the way. But now, the best buddy down wings, okay? Now, people, because I get lots of people saying, because lots of people are casual, right? Like, they play in Go Fest and these Pokemon Go tours as well. So they don't rate the Alga Palkia unless, you know, there is, like, let's say for the casuals, okay? They played Go Fest. They have probably a higher chance of having a good IV Necrozma than Dialga or Palkia. So technically they could invest in these Pokemons. So what does Best Buddy give them? As a down wings, the bat?
Yeah, so I wrote this really small asterisk at the top, which I think, so you might have to swap over to the Best Buddy one.
Okay.
On the stream here. But the all Best Buddy ones have some keys. So when you transition, you get your red Best Buddy ribbon on there.
Okay.
You can beat Dusk Mane. So you beat the bat beats the cat when the cat ain't got no ribbon.
Okay.
So if the cat's not running the ribbon, you win in the ones.
Yeah, I noticed that happening in one of the coachings. I was coaching someone and we were able to. They had a Best Buddy. And they asked me why. I said, because maybe the stab had claw damage.
It's a little bit of both because you win the 2 versus 1 as well.
So
and then if you play the zeros with your bat counterpart, if their bat has no ribbon or isn't using it, I should say, because you can have the ribbon and not use it.
Yeah.
If you have the ribbon and are using it and they don't, then you can win the mirror match because you're able to win CMP, and Moongeist Beam is like a giant laser beam Kamehameha wave from Dragon Ball. Like, you're not losing that matchup.
Yeah, it's a Kamehameha. Like, you just literally do like nuke amount of damage to everything.
And then the Dragon Breath Gyarados, you can't lose anymore.
If you are Best Buddy?
I believe that the Best Buddy might... this might not be different than the hundo, but it's just to reconfirm that you win that matchup because you're a hundo.
Okay, so let's recap. All Best Buddy, regardless of the IV, as long as they have 15 attack.
Yeah.
Beat Dusk Mane in the 1?
In the 2 versus 1.
And in the 2 versus 1. And Gyarados, Dragon Breath, and the 0. Oh, this is a good one. Yeah, this is a big one.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a big one.
Okay, that's an argument there about like running a Best Buddy.
I will say that the reason that I said this is all Best Buddy means if you have all of the problems that we just got done talking about and you put the ribbon on it, you can solve them.
Okay.
You get all of the matchups that you lost, and then you pick up those.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because those were like a loss. Now, not just became like...
You flipped your losses to wins, and now it doesn't matter.
A hundo Best Buddy beats Shadow Loki in the 1-2. Oh, this is a nice one.
Yeah, so the 100% list is the reason why you want the hundo.
Yeah, because to be honest, like Shadow Lugia is actually better version of Lugia because Sky Attack doesn't do anything. With the Shadow Lugia, you can go straight Sky Attack in literally all of the matchups. Because it's Shadow and it benefits from the 20% extra damage. Best Buddy Excadrill and normal Excadrill is down a shield. Okay, that's a nice one.
So both of these matchups are crazy because... the Excadrill feels like a bad matchup because you have wings, but you're not a flying type.
Bro, I literally swapped out when I saw Excadrill the first time I played the game. I'm like, wait.
Hard habit to break. It's like, I got wings, I gotta leave.
I'm like, wait, I'm not a flyer.
I'm a psychic type, Smile. Yeah. But the Shadow Lugia is like supposed to be a very favorable matchup for you. But just knowing that if they give 2 shields to their tank, you can take it out is crazy.
You still beat it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I see.
The other one is that you beat Best Buddy Palkia Origin in the zeros. That's awesome.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Huge matchup.
That's beating the best Pokemon, basically. That's what we're saying. So
if you're wondering why is this not in bold, it's because when you get down to the other ones with the HP and not the hit point, if you have worse stats to have 14 or 13 in your hit points, you still get that.
Oh, you still beat Polkia even with 13 HP.
That's right. There's something when you get that extra.
Is it like one more
that you win?
One more damage from foul play? Sorry, Dark Pulse?
I don't know what it is that does it. I haven't looked into the details. I just checked matchups. So if you want to check those out, you can and see if there's a breakpoint.
Let's see. What is the Polkia? Which one's the Polkia?
So you want to check the zeros. That's if you're ever checking IVs for this Pokemon, you can just trust me on the uneven shields and just look at the zeros because those are the ones that really matter.
What did you
did you check the
okay, here is the Polkia. Okay, there is actually a huge difference here.
There is a Shadow Claw breakpoint that you get on Metagross.
Okay, so Shadow Claw does 6, Dragon Breath does 5. Oh, there is a Dragon Breath breakpoint you deny. Oh, I'm assuming because the other one is 14. Okay, let me double check.
Starting to get the science of it, yes.
Okay. Oh, well, basically, let's say if... Oh, I think the Polkia origin is like, if you don't have a 15 defense, you're just losing massively. But if you are best buddy, you're just destroying that matchup. That's the difference. Like, yeah. I see another one is Ursaluna, which is a normal type, which is... oh, you win in the 0 and the 1 and the 2 just by having best buddy?
This is just as a quick interjection. When you're best buddy at any level for this Pokemon, you do 1 more damage to Metagross with Shadow Claw.
Oh, that's a huge one. Because, like, you could actually farm it all the way.
Matchup for you.
Yeah, that means you can just also farm it all the way down. Throw once and farm it all the way down.
Yeah, so it doesn't really show up in the simulations outside of that breakpoint, but like you might set yourself up to just take more damage from it and store more energy if you'd like.
I see. Beats Togekiss. Yeah, Togekiss is meta relevant. It does exist, especially in the Origins meta. The HP 15, 15, 14 and 15, 15, 13, which we agreed on. It's like the second and the third best option. Now with Best Buddy, you still beat Palkia, you still beat normal Excadrill down a shield, and you still beat Dusk Mane up a shield, which is actually nice. Down Wings, Ursaluna. Okay, now moving to the 14 defense. This is like the most important one because we still can't make the argument about this.
Yeah, the defense is weird because you do pick up Togekiss in the 2 versus 2, which basically is the 2 versus 1 as well. It's because it's a Charmer. So when you take when you have those hit points to take the charms reduction in damage from the defense is not enough to matter.
Yeah.
So you just take hit points, and so the more hit points you got, the better.
Exactly.
But that's only when 2 shields are in play. Again, some Charmers, especially double charm teams, are going to run it. So they're going to double shield. But the kicker is that you now lose that Palkia origin in the zeros,
and
which
like
you do not want to lose because that means that that's normal Palkia origin, not Best Buddy.
And people might think that Togekiss doesn't exist. I say, if you don't think Togekiss exists, just wait for Primarina Community Day and Double Charm will be everywhere because Primarina is going to be a beast with a Hydro Cannon.
Yeah, that'll be scary. This 15, 14, 14 is an ironic thing because of what we had said earlier, that it's not that bad as a 50.
Yeah.
Because you don't lose out on that many, but at 51 it is.
What do you
It doesn't really do anything.
Oh, so 15...
I just didn't even... Yeah.
Not advised to build, remove from consideration. So you either need 15 defense in most of the matchups or 15 HP at least.
It just, like, the 15 stat hits the break point hits the bulk point, or it hits the hit point that you want.
Okay.
So that's why it matters that you can't have 14s there, because you just where you see the benefits in the HP and the benefits in the defense that you pick up that are similar to the Hundo, all of those menus are gone.
Okay.
You don't get any of that.
So in other words, they have to have 15 attack. They have to have 15 attack with 15 defense or 15 HP. So if they want to be picky with the Wings one, you need to have 2 15s, one of them attack. That's basically what Rob is saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Not gonna lie,
I'm really curious about the Ursaluna stats here. Just because Ursalina currently has bad movesets and can learn Shadow Claw, this is something you're going to check if they update that Pokemon. Ursalina could really wreck you because it's a normal type.
Oh, I see. So, yeah, like, I mean, to be honest, like, picking up the Lugia and Excadrill and Dusk Mane, that's a 3. I would say Palkia and Dusk Mane, that's like 2 huge meta matchups, so it's worth it as long as you have those 2 IVs, the 15-15-14 and 15-15-13. So that's something to consider, and I'm like, now I want to work on my best buddying my downwing. Is there anything we didn't talk about with the downwings you think we haven't mentioned?
No, I think like the more times that Shadow Lugia appears in the game, the more relevant that spread gets.
Yeah.
And the more Excadrill has strong play into the rest of the stuff that's there in Masters, the more that's relevant. I've seen people that have kind of dismissed Excadrill into this niche, like not very good D tier. And that's kind of irrelevant because it doesn't matter if it's D tier or S tier. It just hits hard and deletes stuff.
Yeah.
So
like, I think the main issue with Excadrill is like because of Lando everywhere. But I think like now we have 2 steel Pokemons, right? We have the Lion and we have the Alga. And the Palkia matchup isn't bad if you are up a shield because 2 drill runs should KO.
Yeah. If you want to know kind of like the general stuff about this Pokemon, something we actually haven't touched on, which is basically the only thing we've been discussing are matchups that change.
Yeah.
So like if you have this stat versus this stat, the things that change between them, if you look at the vast amount of data that this Pokemon can just nuke without even considering, like let's say you had a 14, 14, 14, this thing is so strong.
Exactly.
Like, it's so good. So if you really are down bad and you got the XLs and you're like, let's give it a shot. Go for it. Like,
yeah.
We're not going to stop you. It's just, this is a cost sunk fallacy, right? Because people are sinking their wallets into this Pokemon.
Exactly.
This is not like a Pokemon that you're going with anything. This is a financial investment for some people,
I haven't whaled since the Alga and Palkia, and in this one Pokemon, I invested a lot. I mean, I went to New York Go Fest. I also raided a lot in the city here during the global Go Fest. So that's why, like, I've never done a PvP IV dive into Master League, and this is the second one we're doing just for this one because I invested a lot. So the comment to your point. Okay.
I don't know how lucky it was. I think it was somewhere shy of 250 raids, but I got 2 hundos and a shiny 15-15-13, and all of them are currently maxed and working on the best buddy.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
I also have a 15-15-12 Zarude, so we're cooking.
Wow. No, my Zarude is I think 10, 11, 10, and I was so scared to buy the ticket for the second Zarude because I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get like 11, 10, 10 this time. If they just let us
that
trade,
was my Marshadow.
If they just let us trade one mythical, like just one mythical, like they don't have to make it like all the mythicals, okay? You can just mirror, okay? Make it like exclusive to mirroring a mythical. That would be nice, to be honest, because I think every mythical I have except the Victini is a 10 or 11 attack. Okay, now let's move to the Lion, the Dusk Mane, the one on top of me. Okay, we have a cool GIF or GIF. I don't know what you call it.
I'll put this on the screen just so you guys can try to screen cap that if you want.
Wow, must be nice. I'm working on the shiny Lion because I feel like the Lion must be shiny.
It looks good.
Yeah,
it looks good.
It does. Because
kitties.
Solgaleo looks like a very scuffed lion. It's literally look like a Lego lion. Like if you look at the joints, like
Roblox.
Exactly. Like it looks so scuffed, and then you look at Dusk Mane. The actual line, it does look insanely good. I think it's the best well-designed Pokemon in the game. After Zekrom. I love Zekrom's design.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, especially with the fusion.
So let's get into the cat.
Okay, moving on. The cat.
So when it comes to Best Buddy, I didn't even make a post. Just so you guys know. You should Best Buddy it because it deserves giving your kitties a little bit of extra flair, okay? But if you want to use it, you probably don't need to.
Okay.
We did talk about this when we were talking a little bit prior to meeting, that if you have 0 shields versus 1 shield, the Best Buddy can beat Swampert in the 0-1. which is really odd.
That's the actual matchup you care about if you play tournaments. Again, that's not GBL. If you don't play the tournaments, it's just what, you know, like something also you pick up, you know. But if you play tournaments, that's a matchup you will see. Gyarados, Snorlax, Swampert usually are on every team almost in Master League tournaments.
It's a little bait dependent, but you also beat Dragonite in the 2s. If you have the best buddy ribbon.
Talking about the Dragonite, is it because you shield 2 baits and you let the last superpower go?
I think you can still... Oh man, I wish I had this up right now. I had taken that off of my list here.
Okay.
Dusk Mane. Yeah, I took it off. I think you might have to in the 2 shield versus Dragonite. Do you shield 2 Dragon Claws? Let's see.
I think it's more like you let a superpower go. But wait, it's a ghost, right? Or a psychic? Is the line?
It's a steel psychic, so
okay,
it's neutral.
So neutral.
Oh, in the 2 shields, I don't think it matters. I think you just win it anyways. Yeah. It looks like you just win it anyways.
Yeah, you win in the 0-1, maybe down a shield or something. Oh, it says you lose the 2.
Ones.
It says you lose the 2 here.
Oh, you lose the 2s against all of them. That's what it is. So
okay, let's see.
If you have the hundo, you lose with a 5, a 497. You lose with like a single Dragon Breath.
You lose if you let the superpower go. That's basically the Dragonite matchup. So if you are playing against the Dragonite, you shield 2 baits. Just don't let them throw the 3rd move. Get out.
Well, even if you take the superpower, it's not great. Like, you're gonna do more increased damage, so the accumulation that might actually matter in sandbox mode. So like if they throw the superpower,
well, it's more like
second.
It's more like
shield. You just
It's more like if you shield 2 baits, don't let them nuke you. Don't let them nuke you. Just get out.
Yeah.
Because like before that, they are both almost at below half HP, and then like whoever gets to the move first, which is Dragonite, is going to win. Because like if we give a Shadow Claw here to the Lion, the Lion is going to win because it gets to the last move and you win literally with 1 HP.
Yeah. If you check the IVs at the bottom, or sorry, if you go to the very bottom there, Yasser, you can see the number on the matchup. It says like, or it said like it's a 300. No, you added the extra Shadow Claw. It was like a 3.
Okay. Let me remove
306 matchup, I think.
Yeah, 308.
Yeah, 308. So that 308 just means that they've got about 200 rating left of hit points. So if you scroll back up to see the Dragonite's hit points. Up. Yeah. You can see the Dragonite has a fair bit of HP, about 45% or so. You can farm down with the damage debuff, but they're probably going to get a move. If you have the best buddy ribbon, that matchup becomes a 497, which means you're only going to get a single fast move or maybe 2 fast moves off if you're mudshotting it. So if you have it at 51...
Oh, if you have it best buddy, you just deny that. They don't even. Because you get, again, we get to the same point where like, you get to move with 1 HP.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's like... So if a Dragonite is meta...
That's only the hundo, I believe.
Yeah, exactly, because you live with literally 1 HP, and if you have 14 defense, you're gonna take 1 more damage from the charge moves, which will deny that extra HP you gained.
That's right.
So back to the Lion.
That's basically it. Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Back to the Lion. The hundo picks up Dragonite in the 2, and that's it.
For best buddy.
For best buddy. 15, 15, 14 is the second best almost functional hundo, which means hundo minus 1 HP.
Pretty much, yeah.
15, 15, 13 is the third best. Only lose rare matchups. By rare matchups, we mean matchups not exist in GBL.
It's basically that you lose like a 0 versus 0 shield against Zekrom, which is a niche pick. And you also lose to Dragonite and Garchomp with Dragon Tail when you're down 1 shield and they 2 shield. It's like really specific matchups.
I feel like you lose the zeros whenever like that your nuke move is resisted. That's what I noticed, because I played Bat into Zekrom and Bat was able to nuke the Zekrom, but here like the nuke is resisted, right? So that's why you don't win the zero with not a hundo, basically.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with Garchomp is the odd one. I feel like the third Sand Tomb, you probably take a lot of damage from.
Yeah.
So it just might mean that you could potentially change that matchup in sandbox mode. If you like don't shield the first one or you don't shield the second one and you shield the third, you might flip that. It's a very weird matchup, to be sure. I didn't check the sims into it, so that's why I said that if you have 13 hit points, it's probably all right.
I see. 14,
but yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say that you lose. The thing about this chart that's a little misleading is that when you read the things that say 13 hit points, I do not list that matchup that you also lose at 14. So the Best Buddy Shadow Snorlax, that's a loss.
Okay.
When you give a shield versus the zero, you still have that loss because you're not any stronger with one less hit point.
Is it a loss because you lost 1 HP that could have won you the game, or like they get one more break point?
That is a great question. Let's run the 0-1 and check it out. It's probably worth checking it out on screen, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Snorlax.
Just scroll over to the S's. Should be alphabetical.
I've never known about that, actually. Oh, it's a horrible matchup.
Yeah. Now, if you go to that matchup and then click bulk points, it'll save your position. Oh, I wasn't talking about this menu.
You mean this one? So that is a Shadow Claw lick.
You can see if there is one.
How?
No, what I mean is go back to the previous menu.
Okay.
Like where you could see all the matchups.
Okay.
And then you see there's the bulk points and break points at the top of that box.
Oh, here. You mean this one?
No. Right there.
Okay. Break point. And do we check the bulk points?
So you check the bulk points for a lick bulk point.
No.
I think you hit break points.
There is 4 and there is a 3 here. So which one? What's the difference
Scroll
here?
Up a little bit.
One shadow,
Scroll
one non-shadow. One shadow, one non-shadow.
Yeah, check the shadow and then scroll up a little bit. And then click the bulk point or the break points to see if there's anything there. You can scroll down and it will tell you if there's anything changed.
No changes here.
No changes.
But bulk points, there is Melmetal.
Yep,
There's a lot. There is Melmetal, Rhyperior, Solgaleo, Zacian. Oh, so you lose. So if you have 14 defense, basically, you take one more damage from Incinerate, one more damage from Thunder Shock, from Melmetal, one more damage from Mudshot, which actually flipped the matchup from Dusk Mane's favor into Rhyperior's favor. You take one more damage from Fire Spin. You take one more damage from Snarlzation.
Yeah, if you look at that matchup with the exception of Melmetal.
Yeah.
In general, when you look at things about like bulk points or break points or whatever from opponents, in that case, it's only really going to play a role when the opponent's attacks are super effective against you.
Yep. Which is basically a matchups you shouldn't be playing.
Yeah, but Dusk Mane is such a tank that you can like take him most of the time.
So basically, you get out unless you're forced to play it. Like you're switch locked into these. 13
Pretty
HP.
much. 13. It's really not that bad.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what I mean?
not bad.
Like you have like one omega niche matchup, or I guess 2 very niche matchups with Dragonite and Garchomp. Garchomp may even be completely situational, just avoid entirely. Zekrom in the zeros, very odd that you're gonna find that matchup at all, except at the end of the game. And even then you're like, well, I probably just lose to Magnezone here anyways, you know? So then at that point, you're really only missing the same matchup that you had if you had 14 hit points.
Okay.
So 14, 13 doesn't really matter.
So now you have the 13 HP, which is basically lose whatever 14 HP lose, plus. So we talk Shadow Snorlax. And down a Shield, Dragonite, and Garchomp. Well, down a Shield is always a matchup like...
You're not in a good position anyways.
Exactly. You're already in a bad situation.
Yeah.
15, 14, 15, which is the one I said you could invest in as a Lion. Yeah. Save from a Simul KO.
So you do actually maintain the correct amount of hit points to meet the Shadow Snorlax issue when you have a 15, 14, 15. Like,
okay.
You can be fine.
So we're fine with the 14 defense.
Yeah. The other thing here is that there's like a really weird thing I included here. There is something that happens when you have less hit points where you are safe from Shadow Ball Mewtwo simultaneous KOing you. Like,
yeah, I noticed the Mewtwo one, like the best way to actually play it is just throw one move, get a shield, and then farm all the way down. Like, don't throw a second move.
Yeah, you're better off like playing the matchup where you don't try to shield and throw a second move. You're better off throwing one and then just farming.
Yeah, like just throw one move and farm that simul. Because otherwise, if you try to throw a second move, that means you're doing one less Shadow Claw, which is the reason you should be KOing the Mewtwo if you commit to the farm all the way down.
Yeah.
Now, best buddy overall.
The one thing is that you should pay attention to the best buddy ribbon, not in the sense of like, should I build my Dusk Mane, but more in the sense of, if I have the best buddy, what are the things that I need to be aware of?
Exactly.
Those things are actually like what I was talking about with the Excadrill. Now it's relevant because Excadrill's supposed to beat you.
It's supposed to be an anti-steal.
And if you put a ribbon on this big fat cat, it's going to win.
This is a very nice one. Like flipping a hard counter. So that's actually worth it.
Another hard counter in the ones with Giratina Origin, you will win.
Kyogre which is, believe it or not, Kyogre is an anti-steal Pokemon. Usually water Pokemons are supposed to counter the steal. Now someone be like,
you can beat Kyogre.
You can beat Kyogre now in the 2.
Going straight Dark Pulse. It's pretty crazy.
Yep. The non-stab move.
And the other thing is, if you got a really crappy kitty, you can solve some of your IV issues.
Yeah, solve IV issues if you are at 96 or 98. Only Hundo Dusk Mane best buddy can win the 2 shield versus Dragonite. I think we agreed that this one is based off shielding 2 baits. It's shielding 2 baits. You already fumbled the game. This is what we say.
We found the more relevant one was actually winning against Swampert in the 0-1.
Yes.
And then I'll give you this as like, if you watch the rest of this, if you watch the whole video, you can find this little nugget.
Yeah.
This Pokemon will be very relevant with Best Buddy Ribbon and the other one to consider when you start throwing Megas in the mix.
See, guys, this is another reason why you should never skip a video when you watch it.
I will just say that because you need to do your own homework, but we've given you some help here on how we look at these.
So the cat,
how to use PvP.
The cat is better against the Megas.
I won't say that it's better against the Megas because the Megas have different matchups for both of them when the best buddies are in play.
Yes, the best buddy versus the Megas, the cat is better.
With how this next cycle is, I don't know if I can say that for sure because there's so many Megas.
Yeah, they allowed lots of Megas.
And it really depends on your matchup for that week. But I think by and large, you might be right. But at the same time, like, me personally, I'm not a big Master League player, even though I like talking about IVs. I don't think that I don't think that it's worth having a little bit of extra wiggle room on Megas with Dusk Mane, as opposed to having matchups that I know very well because I'm comfortable understanding them. Does that make sense? Like, if I'm going to build up like my understanding of using my Hundo Necrozma Dawnwings, and I know those matchups super, super well, I've played it a bunch, then I don't want to introduce this new Mega Mix and I have to like relearn a couple things.
Okay. Now, Rob, we need to sum up. So, for the bat, the downwing, the one on top of you, on OBS, what people can invest in 20 seconds.
If you've got a hundo, build the bat first.
Okay.
If you have no hundos, you can consider running your Lunala and your Dusk Mane. I actually am going to say that outside of your considerations for the IVs, you should actually see what's in your inventory. What other Pokemon you plan to pair it with. Like, if you've got a really good Palkia Origin, specifically, you've got a lot more flexibility with what you're picking. You can probably choose both of them and just try to find something that works. If you don't have a very good Palkia Origin, I would say just build the cat. Your best IVs that you got, build the cat.
Well, basically, like, Palkia loves the cat, Dialga loves the bat.
Yes.
So
that's a fair assessment.
What Rob is saying, it's based off which Origin Pokemon do you have. Now, there is a trick here. People who don't have Origin, for the people who watch my videos, I said if you don't have the Origins, get your Zygarde to 50. Which one is better with the Zygarde?
I would say the cat's probably better with Zygarde just because of the opposite typing with ground and steel, specifically.
And it looks...
And you have a little bit more coverage against ice. If that becomes relevant with Avalugg, like assuming Avalugg in particular.
Avalugg and Kyurem.
And Kyurem, when it gets the black and white forms, is going to be a menace. So
we're getting that next year.
For that.
I mean, we're getting that next year because we have the tour for that generation next year, right? In February. So we're talking about 6 months, and we will get that. So
yeah, and just keep in mind these are the same dex entry, because if you can't type in Dawn Wings and you can't type in Dusk Mane and find them in your inventory, you have to type Necrozma to find them. So you can't run both of them on the same team. So you got to figure out what you're going to pair them with. I would also say, just as an extra piece, if you've got a really, really good Landorus and you've got a really good Dialga, you should go for the bat.
Yes, the bat. The bat is better with Dialga again, and the lion is better with Palkia or Zygarde. So that's another reason. If you don't have Origins, again, I advise you to get your Zygarde because it's a beast of a Pokemon. Not as good as the Origins, but it's the best replacement that everyone has. So IVs wise, if not hundo, on the bat and on the cat.
I would say you should feel safe with the cat going all the way 15, 15, 13. I built 2 cats because I love that Pokemon.
Yeah.
And one of them is shiny at 15, 15, 13. And I have 2 hundos. So that's speaking a lot to say that I built 2 of these. So I would say you could do that. With Dawn Wings, again, I already said the addendum earlier. I probably wouldn't build it if it were me, unless it's a hundo. I would just keep lucky trading and praying. But if you can... and you don't want to run Dawn Wings as a hundo, then maybe you can start considering anything that's 15, 14, 15, or 15, 15, 14. Both of the 98s, I'd say, just give it a try. Play to your matchups that you're going to lose, and just be aware of them, and just give it a shot.
Exactly.
But if you got 13 in any stats, probably avoid the bat.
Avoid the bat with 13 defense. So you heard it here, guys. If you don't have a good IV and if you don't have any of the recommended IVs that Rob just mentioned, you need to start lucky trading, because to be honest, like, level 50 is the biggest investment you could do, and I don't know if I would dump 600k dust and 250 XL candy and non-ideal Pokemon. So yeah, Rob, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Anytime. And where can people find you?
Well, I haven't been streaming lately, but I was planning on getting into it again this week. The game has just been really, really tough with drop frames. It just updated like literally 2 days ago. So I'm going to try to get back into playing some more on stream and try to maybe hit Legend in a late push. So you can find me at twitch.tv/notrobmay. If you want to look up my deep dives and you haven't figured it out by now, it's been on the screen the whole time. So good luck to you finding that one.
Yeah, every day I wake up.
notRob on Twitter.
Every day I wake up at like 7:30 Central Time. I'm like, I open Twitch, I don't see you live, and then I go back to bed. I'm like, okay. He's not live.
Yeah, not today.
Okay, maybe we will do more like collabs in the future if you guys like it. So make sure if you like the video, leave a like click all the buttons down below. And if you have a question, you can leave in the description below. I know it took me a while to answer all the questions, but I had more than 250 questions in the last video. So please excuse me sometimes if I didn't answer you as fast as you may think. And yeah, thank you so much, Rob, for joining me today. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching. This is the end of the video, and see you in the next one. Rob, anything to end the video with?
Take it easy.
Take it easy. Peace, everyone.